You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P. Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Denison's head volleyball coach, Coach Carter Cassell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk Denison and our program.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to become a head volleyball coach?
Yeah, like a lot of coaches, I feel like I wasn't 100% sure that I would be in this profession right now. I actually started out sports broadcasting, and then got into more like sports marketing. My undergrad was sports industry with a business minor, so I was looking more into the marketing side of professional sports is what I was originally thinking. And then I got kind of closer towards the end of my time at Ohio State, and I just had this this feeling that I wanted to stay involved in the sport of volleyball. Um, for me, the sport has given me a lot in terms of building my values and my relationships. And um, I felt like there would almost be maybe a little bit of a void in my life if I wasn't still involved with the game. Um, and then, yes, out of college, I was able to, a job opened up that was actually pretty close to back home for me, Kenyon College, and I got the assistant job there, um, and now I'm here. I'm still in it.
What was that experience like going to Ohio State and playing volleyball?
Yeah. I love my time at Ohio State. It's kind of funny. I work at a smaller college now. We're about 2,400 students. But I absolutely love my big school experience. And um, I grew up in the Columbus area, so part of me always wanted to be a Buckeye, and it's kind of in my blood. But um, I went to a school, Lewis University, my freshman year, and was on the volleyball team there, and um, really good volleyball team. Top 15 program and the D1, D2 men's scene. I just got to the point where I kind of wanted that bigger school experience. And so I ended up transferring, and I played club volleyball at Ohio State, and it was still really high level. I think we had three Division I transfers on our club team, and had a blast. Like those are some of my best buddies to this day. And but yeah, lo loved it there. I think working in a smaller college, I definitely see the perks of maybe smaller class sizes and stuff like that. But there's also some advantages to going to a bigger school like Ohio State, and I loved it there.
How was that experience like for you as the assistant coach at Kenya College?
Yeah, I'm really grateful for my time at Kenyon. The head coach, Amanda Cramp, she just got the head coaching job when I was getting ready to graduate from Ohio State, and it was her. She was going to be a first-time head coach, and um, I am grateful for her giving me the opportunity to help her. I learned a ton during my 3 years there. It was a complete rebuild. I think they went 4-25 the year before I got there. And our first year, it was still a little bit of a struggle, but I feel like we were able to kind of set the culture in place and start moving in the right direction. And then the second year, I think we went 15-13, and then the third year, 18-12 or something like that. So we made pretty good incremental progress. But I appreciate, and the head coach then, she gave me a ton of responsibility and kind of set me free a little bit and let me take ownership over some parts of the program. And and Kenyon's somewhat similar to Denison. They're actually in the same conference. So that helped prepare me for the NCAC. And they're honestly a pretty similar institution too. They're a private liberal arts college, pretty high academic. So that really helped as I transitioned over to Denison.
What was that transition like becoming a head coach for the first time and coming to Denison?
Yeah. Denison really checked all the boxes I was looking for. I do like coaching at the Division III level. I think it's the most pure form of college athletics, especially now with everything. But I liked working in a smaller school. I like working with, Denison's very academic, 17% acceptance rate. So I like working with those students. I think they're very intellectually curious, both in the classroom and on the court. And for me, like, I love that. I think it makes me better as a coach. Denison's about 25 minutes outside of Columbus, Ohio, which I've lived there for a large part of my life. And so both my family and my wife's family are around the area. So that definitely checked that box. And honestly, Denison just trending in a really good direction as an institution. And we invest a lot in athletics and sports matter here. So when I was looking at potentially being a head coach, I was going to be pretty specific with what I would take, and Denison met all of those things. And um, I think the transition from an assistant to a head coach is always an interesting one. You go from being um, the most liked coach on staff to not even disliked, but I think the dynamics just different naturally, and you're making kind of the harder decisions. Like everything kind of falls back on you. But really have loved my time here. I couldn't see myself anywhere else, and I'm excited to keep trying to improve this thing.
How is that feeling like for you stepping onto that court for the first time as head coach?
Yeah. Just a lot of gratitude. I think our athletic director, Nan Carney DeBoard, she's one of the best in the country. She's a two-time Division III Athletic Director of the Year. She took a little bit of a risk on me, I think. Like I was 25 years old when I was hired to lead the program, and I just grateful that she had the trust in me to build this program and get us where I think we could be. Um, and so, yeah, the first year is a whirlwind. It's crazy. You're trying to figure out not only your team and your athletes, but just the institution and kind of operating procedures. But I just finished my seventh season, and it's still a whirlwind. Still trying to figure things out, but I love it here, and I was grateful to have the opportunity.
Of course, in that first season, what was that transition like when you were so close in age with your players?
Yeah. In a way, I think it helped. I think it, if anything, helped build connections because there was some commonality. I was in college like not too long ago when I first got the job. But uh, but yeah, I mean, I think if there's a coach that's ever in that same position, you just gotta um, kind of set some guidelines and obviously have boundaries and just know that the relationships matter, but the relationships look different. Like you're their coach and a mentor, but you're not necessarily their best friend, and that's okay. But uh, but yeah, definitely a learning experience, and every year I learn new things, and my hope is that the coach I am today would laugh at the coach that I was 7 years ago. So.
In 2021, what was that historical season like for you?
Yeah, that was it was special. Definitely I think for our program it was big for our alums, past players, current players. it was a culmination of a lot of hard work, though. It wasn't just the 21 season. I think it was all the years leading up to that. I think what made it really gratifying, honestly, the year before was the COVID year, and we Denison handled COVID really well. We were able to practice and train throughout the entire year, but we couldn't really compete. There was just a lot of challenges that year. I think we were asking a lot of our student athletes, and they couldn't really do what they like to do most, which is compete with their teammates against other teams. Um, we trained all year. We got a lot better. And so what really made the 21 championship gratifying is that COVID year, I thought we had the team that could probably win the conference, and we didn't have the opportunity. And then to see all the hard work kind of pay off, and um, I was really proud of our student athletes because they put in the work to make that happen. And we've had Denison volleyball's had good teams. We just have never been able to kind of be at the top, and so to win the first championship in program history was pretty special.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've started to build for the Denison volleyball program?
Yeah. It's what we spend the most time on. I think culture is the most important thing for a collegiate program to have sustained success. So every year we kind of go back to the drawing board, and obviously the longer that you're somewhere, that there's things that kind of carry over, but every year's a new team. So we have four main values or pillars that we kind of found our program on. So Ubuntu is our main value. It's a South African term that means I am because we are. So at the end of the day, it's the idea of being part of something bigger than yourself, treating others well, and knowing that you can only reach your potential if your teammates are striving to be their best. Kaizen's another value. It's a Japanese term. It means continuous improvement. So we're always trying to get better. Meraki is our third term. It's a Greek phrase, so we're going worldwide on these. It means pretty much investing yourself in everything you do and the passion that you put into something. And then grit is our fourth term, which is probably a little more common for people, and it's just navigating the hard moments and staying true to yourself as you try to accomplish your long-term goals. But um, I'd say the biggest competitive advantage we have as a team and a program is the dynamics and the relationships we have. And honestly, our players drive that. Like I feel as the head coach, you certainly set some things and you want to set the standard and expectations, but um, I think you're moving in the right direction when you hear your athletes using common language and really driving your culture. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Like they own the program, like it's theirs. It's not necessarily mine, and so they've just been an awesome group, and I'm grateful to be able to work with them.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah, so we're in the North Coast Athletic Conference. I think first of all, it's a really competitive conference for volleyball. A lot of great schools, academically. I think we all align well towards the same goal, providing a good student athlete experience. I think traditionally Wittenberg University, they've been, as you look at the landscape of Division III volleyball, they've been probably the most successful consistently in the past 20 years or so, with national championship and, Final Fours and stuff like that. So, um, it was great to have them in the conference. Like, I think when I took over at Denison, it was like, how can we get to that level, right? And like they were kind of always the benchmark that you're chasing a little bit. Um, Ohio Wesleyan's in the conference, DePaul, Kenyon College, Oberlin College, John Carroll is going to be joining next year up in Cleveland, Worcester College. So it's competitive. I think, especially last year, like it was a season where anybody could beat anybody. So makes it exciting and makes it So we have to be at our best.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like DePaul comes to home versus going away to Hills Hillborough?
Yeah. Um, we love home matches. I think if anything, our players can stay in a little bit of a normal like school day routine. So um, for the most part, they're in class all day, and then they come down and kind of start preparing, and they'll go and work with our athletic trainer and kind of get their bodies ready to compete. And um, we meet in the locker room before the match and kind of go over some last second like just scout stuff and just make sure we're all on the same page. But what's cool about Denison is it's a lot of like student athletes coming to support student athletes. So we'll have a lot of other teams there supporting us, and then we try to pay the favor back when they're competing. But yeah, we love playing in our gym, Livingston. It's a pretty cool environment. So always appreciate the opportunity to be able to play on our home court.
As a head coach, what does that recruitment process look like for those student athletes? And as a coach, what do you look at in those prospective student athletes?
Yeah. I think for us, like the academic side is really important. Our recruits need to be good students who enjoy being in class and getting challenged. Um, so it kind of starts there. I think for us, like every position's different in terms of some of the qualities we look for in terms of skill set. Athleticism's big. Like I think if you want to compete and be able to contribute at the college level, and this is just, I guess, general advice to prospective student athletes, just got to get your bodies right. Like if you can get stronger and faster, like you're gonna give yourself a chance. So the athleticism needs to be there for us. Like the number one thing that we talk to recruits about is we just want to fill our program with good human beings. And there's a lot of things that go into that, obviously. There's no like set definition of that, but um, I think players will thrive in our program if they like working hard, they're passionate about the sport, they're curious learners and they want to get better. But maybe most importantly, they don't care who gets credit after a win. I think that's big. The biggest difference from college to maybe high school or club is when you're in the college level on a team. You probably have more players in your position that are just as good as you, if not better. And so being willing to kind of buy into your role and put the team ahead of your like individual, I- that's that's huge for us in the recruiting process. So, but yeah,
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that Denison volleyball jersey for the first time?
yeah, I'm just excited. I'm excited for them. I think recruiting is all about relationships. Everything we do in our profession is all about relationships. But we start recruiting a prospective student athlete typically in their sophomore year of high school. So we're able to follow them for about 3 years before they get to Denison. And so um, for me, I'm just excited for them. It's a cool time. It's a super transformational time. Like I think your first year in college is well, like I said, my first year coaching here as a head coach is a whirlwind. I think your first year in college, especially as an athlete, is kind of a whirlwind. You're learning so much and taking in so much information. But yeah, I'm just excited for them because at the end of the day, like their journey is just beginning.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those seniors putting on that uniform for the last time for Denison?
Mm, yeah. So you look at the first years putting the jersey on for the first time, and then the seniors putting it on for the last time. I think for that one, I'm probably a little more emotional. What I enjoy most about being a college coach is having the opportunity to see our student athletes grow as people from the day they step foot on campus for the first time until the day they graduate and get ready to go into the real world. So there's definitely some emotion behind that. I'm always really proud of our seniors and the commitment that they demonstrate towards Denison volleyball. And we've just been really fortunate to have just great groups of seniors. We only had one senior this past season, which is a little unique. But she's awesome. She did so many things for our program. So kind of seeing her that last match, yeah, it's a whirlwind of emotion for sure because you're also excited for them for the future they have coming up. So
What is that like getting to see them going into coaching or going into playing professional volleyball?
yeah. I think for us at Denison, like most of our players, they're going off into the real world to get normal jobs. But uh, but that's always really rewarding. It's cool to see them navigate their college experience, see their interests change. Like if they come in pre-med and they end up leaving psychology or whatever, I always think that's cool. But um, it's cool to follow them throughout their professional pursuits. It's kind of interesting and unique now. Our assistant coach, Jenna Correo, she played at Denison and she played for me for 4 years. And that's been really rewarding. I always think if you have a player that you coached come back and want to coach the program and help, um, to me, that means we're doing things the right way and that it was a good experience. And um, I think she really learned a lot during her time in our program, and she wants to give that back to the current student athletes. So that's been super rewarding. She just finished her first first full season with us. The first player in Denison volleyball history to win a conference championship as a player and as a coach. So shout out to Jenna Correo. She's awesome.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward?
Yeah. I've every year we let our student athletes set kind of the goals for the season. I think with where we're at as a program now, like on a yearly basis, we want to compete for conference championships. We a big thing for us from a performance standpoint is, earning a bid to the NCAA tournament. We fell really short this year, and um, but I know our players really want to get there, and so we're going to work to do that. But honestly, every year it's just how can we like meet our performance potential and maximize the roster that we have, and um, but my hope is, and what I think has happened here is like each year I think we're just getting more involved in the campus community. Our team GPA continues to go up. Our players are going off, our alums to get really rewarding careers. And so for me, like that's what it's all about. Like winning a championship's awesome, but it's just a trophy, right? Like it's all about the journey you go on throughout the course of a season, all the ups and the downs. Like that's why we do this.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college volleyball?
Just be open to learning, trying new things. Like I said earlier, it's kind of a whirlwind your first year of college. Whether you're an athlete or not, you're in a new environment, meeting new friends, doing all that stuff. So just be willing to learn. I always tell our first years, look at this as like a 4 year journey, not a 1 year like snapshot in time. Um, I I I think we're in a society that like instant gratification. We always want things now, now, now. But I think the beauty of college athletics, especially at the Division III level, honestly, is if you continue to put in the work, like you're going to grow throughout your time here. And so maybe if you don't have the role you want your first year, or you don't feel like you're performing how you should, like give yourself some grace, stay true to the process, and you'll end up getting where you need to go.
What advice would you give those coaches looking to get started in coaching and becoming a head coach?
Yeah. Um, I would say there's a lot more to it than you might think, in terms of administrative stuff, like head coaches at Denison. Most of us are faculty, so I teach a class. I'm an advisor. I help our students schedule classes and stuff like that. So, um, just be willing. Once again, like I don't think the advice is maybe that much different. Like, be willing to learn. Give yourself some grace, and hopefully you look at it as a multi-year process and not just kind of like a 1 year outcome-based thing.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the Denison volleyball program at?
Yeah. So our Denison, this is a good test for me to see if I know. Our Denison Instagram, I think it's like Denison VB. That's kind of the way to follow our program and see the ins and outs. I have a Twitter. I don't really use it a whole lot, but it's like Coach Carter Cassell. I should probably use it more. But uh, but yeah, I do have if there's advice for people looking to get into coaching and like first time coaches, um, I do think this is important. I think you need to be authentic to yourself. Um, you need to understand that it's not about you, it's about the student athletes. Uh, I think you need to avoid attaching your results and your career to your identity and your value. And then you need to be a learner and know that it's not going to be perfect. So I know that was off script a little bit, but I do think those are four things that are really important. If there's anybody that will watch this that might want to be a college coach one day.
Thank you again, Coach Carter Castle, for your interview and best luck in your future at Denison as the head volleyball coach.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Carter Castle, for your interview and best luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.